Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Flexi Webinar. My name is Bennett. I'll be the moderator for today. Our presenter is Aaron Clapp, Application Specialist at SAi. He knows everything there is to know about Flexi, and today he'll be demonstrating the newest version of FlexiDESIGN, the much requested Flexi for Mac. After the presentation, we'll be able to answer any questions you have either about Flexi for Mac or any other topic, so feel free to put those questions in the chat, and we'll answer as many as we can. We are recording the webinar as always, so if you want to review anything Aaron discusses or share it with someone else, we'll be sending you all the link to the recording this afternoon, so look out for that. And that's about it for me, so I'll turn it over to Aaron.
All right, sounds good. So what we wanted to do today, or the goal for today's video, was kind of to get kind of more of the news out there about the new VAC version and what it can do and things like that. So if you're familiar with Flexi at all on the PC version, the Mac version can basically do everything that the PC version can do. This is a Flexi Designer version at the moment. So this is a designer only. So if you are, using this in a design, production setting, this will be great. It does connect to the production manager on another computer. So basically the way it is now is that it is a designer only. So there's no production manager attached to it. So it doesn't connect directly to your devices, but if you have a production device or a production machine somewhere that connects to your printers and your cutters, this will connect to that. We'll kind of show you that as well. So I kind of just had plans for today just to kind of open it up, demo the software, show that, the different things that the software can do, and just kind of show you that this is a lot like the familiar type of feeling that you're going to get inside of the Flexi Mac version. So if there are any of your designers or any of you that prefer to use the Mac version, this might be a good option for you. All right, so as we open, the software, we get the same familiar experience. We have our Design Central windows and Fill Stroke Editor. Our design scape is very much the same, and all the tool layouts and things are very similar. A lot of the tools are going to be familiar to you as well. So we have a lot of your basic tools. Obviously, we can, do the same things like change color, based on patterns, fills, and whatnot like that. We can also show our border. So if you want to work on this, so everything that you would traditionally expect from your Flexi software is going to be available to you. So why don't we go ahead and import some signs and just kind of play around with the software, just to kind of show, the similarities of the software. So let's go back in here and let's just import an Illustrator file, just so we can see that we can import those. And this is a vector file. So again, traditionally we can do, anything that we can do on the Mac version. So if I ungroup this, I can come in here and I can make changes to whatever things I want to. So, I can come in here and say select within, select multiple parts, and I could change the colors just like you'd expect. So maybe we go with a sky blue there, and let's maybe change the color here to something else. So just like you would expect from Flexi, you can do a lot of the changes and editing that you want. We can even go in here, and if we were looking to perhaps select a certain object, we can select by similar color or by attributes. Again, these are all things that you can do in the Mac or the PC version as well. But we can now choose, if we want to by fill. So we can pull these open. We can say, okay, well, I've got all these colors in here. I've got a bunch of CMYKs, and I can choose everything that is sky blue, or for example, everything that's black. Check that box. It'll choose everything that's black in the artwork. So very familiar kind of settings there as well. Again, we can go in here, we can do the same things in terms of contour cutting. So we can set up contour cuts just like we can in our PC version. All those features are there. So if you wanted to create a contour cut or a specific size, a rectangle or ellipse, or we can even do the dotted just like you would normally as well. We can also change our size here. We can increase that kind of on the fly. Let's keep it at 0.25 so we can kind of see it. So we've got different options here as well. Again, we also have all the colors and whatnot in here for our contour cut. So if you want to do a perf cut contour and a regular contour on top of that, that's definitely an option you can do. We can hit apply, and now we've got a contour cut on that object. Now, speaking of colors, one of the things that you are also able to do is if we right click on our swatch table, we can go ahead and open our table. We have some of our default tables, and then we've got our library. So for example, if you want the Pantone, all the Pantone color swatches are here. So we can go, for example, with the solid coded V3, open that up, and then they show up down here as different tabs. What's really nice about this is that it kind of gives you a way to switch between them without actually removing any screen space for your design. So this is kind of a nice feature of the Mac version, that you can tab through these versus having to stack a bunch of them and then have that eat up into your design space. You can customize your toolbars however you want them, just like you can on the Mac. I can pull these out and put these up here. So I can customize my view, save that just how I want to. You also have the cloud window, just like you would in the other version. And we've got all your cloud links to manage your subscription, your cloud account, things like that, support and training, and all your cloud tools and things like that. So all that is going to be as expected, like you would see as well. Let's minimize that for a minute. All right, so let's go ahead and show us some other stuff here. Let's import a file, and let's do some vectorization here real quick, because we can also do vectorization. So I'm going to go to the Flexi folder here. This is a classic Flexi file here that we use a lot, but it definitely illustrates how good this can be. So I'm going to just zoom in here, my scroll wheel and option. And all of your key commands are going to be very familiar to what you're used to on a Mac. So the commands, so your Command Q, Command A, Command Z, Command C, those are all going to be very familiar to you. Command Z for undo, things like that. So a lot of those are going to be there. In fact, while I'm talking about that, you can come in here and customize your workspace. And change just like you can on the Windows version. We can add and make any changes to the shortcuts that we want. But they have been modified in such a way so that they do follow the standard Mac OS type style commands. So let's just try and vectorize something here real quick. So we'll go to our bitmap filter and we'll go vectorize and color trace this. Kind of a standard procedure here. We're going to select our object. And then I know, because I'm familiar with this file, that this file has about 6 colors in it. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to leave my edge filters normal and just hit apply. So we've vectorized it and we are good to go. So now at this point, we've got vector files and we can scale this up. So as we zoom out here, we can make this a lot bigger. And of course, since we're dealing with vectors and whatnot, we can also do point editing. So again, our point editing tools are going to be just the same as they typically always have been. So let's just go over here. We'll look at some. So I can come in here and start adjusting things for, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. So I can come in here and use all my traditional point editing tools that I'm very familiar with from the Windows version. of Flexi. And we can adjust things here and kind of get things so that they're straight. So you kind of get the idea here. So we can make adjustments to our file. Let's zoom out a little bit and maybe take a look at some arcs. So we got a funny looking arc here that looks like it's got some kind of a problem. We're going to go to our 3-point arcs here, create an arc based on 3 points. And that looks pretty good. Hit return, that kind of fixes that problem there. So again, a lot of the same tools that you're going to be familiar with inside of Flexi, same is going to be on the Mac. They're in the same places, so it'll be a completely familiar experience. Okay, let's also talk about, let's just demonstrate real quick while we're talking about bitmaps and whatnot. Let's just show the transparency options, just to kind of show that we can still do that in this version as well. So let's go to our leaf here, hit open, and let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so if we draw a background behind this, and I'm going to go ahead and just choose a color. So let's just choose this green, and we will move it to the back. So we've got our white background here. So we know that obviously needs to be made transparent. So if we go to effects, sorry, not effects, bitmap, make transparent. I'm going to click here, and it's going to show me the area that it's going to make transparent, which it's got highlighted there. You can kind of see a little bit of a black line there, and I'm going to hit apply. And just like that, we've got a transparent image now. So we've got, in case we didn't want to vectorize it, or maybe the file wasn't really suitable for vectorizing, or it didn't need to be vectorized, or too complicated for vectorization, whatever the case may be, you just wanted to make the background transparent. This is an option to do that. And then we can also add a contour cut to that, because why not, right? So now we can add a contour cut to this. Apply. And it looks like, oh, that was just a visual glitch there. All right, so now we've got a contour cut, and we can send this out to print. Let's clear that, and let's just do a quick, see if we can do a mask here. Oh, you know what? That's a bitmap, so I can't, of course I can't do that. That's, there we go. Let's do that with something else. So let's pull out that here, and let's just grab some of these little shapes here. So we can also do masking and whatnot, just like you would in your, oops. Let's just do one of these. We'll hit Control G for group. Make sure I did that, and let's try the mask. It might not work with these two things, but we'll just see here. There we go. Group them together, mask those up. So we can do masking just like you typically would. So there's that. And then let's take a look at what it would take to send something to the production manager. So in the very beginning, I mentioned that we couldn't get the production manager is separate. So it does have the rip and print screen here. So as long as you have a production manager somewhere on your network, you can connect to this very easily. And so it's not a big deal at all. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead, and I have on my other computer, so my other laptop, I have a Flexi 21 rip and print open, or production manager open. So all I have to do is click on rip and print, and I'm going to choose on another computer. Obviously, I can't choose this one because we don't actually have a production manager on this computer. This is going to search the network for me so that I don't have to figure out IP addresses or anything like that. Hit OK. It's going to do a little search. It found this production manager on my network, and all I have to do is hit OK, just like that. And now I'm connected to my production manager. Now it's going to pop up here and saying, hey, the settings on your production manager are different from, the settings that you have here. What do you want to do? And typically you always want to keep the rip and print settings. So now I can edit everything that I want to in here, just like I normally would. I can come in here and make size changes. I want to make this smaller. I can make copies. Or I can recenter these objects. I can come in here. I could do paneling if I want to. I've got all of my color correction options. In fact, you'll notice here that it automatically loaded in the profile that I already had loaded on my production manager. So it saw that profile and just automatically put it in here for me. I didn't have to do anything extra. It was all set up for me. So I've got my color correction options here, things like that. I've got all of my settings for my cutter. So if I want to come in here and edit my cutter settings, I can choose whatever one I want. Now, this particular one happens to be a graph text, so it has a bunch of these in here, but you can also create your own. So I can go to cut fast and I can choose my acceleration and whatnot in here. Each cutter is going to look a little bit different, obviously. So uh, everything here is compatible with a lot of the machines over on the other side. So you're going to see a lot of the same settings and whatnot in here. So it'll be, again, very familiar if you're setting up jobs in here. We can change our type marks if we want to from the other style to this. I can do a poll size. And now in this particular case, I can't do really a poll size because I actually don't have a plotter connected. So it'll just bring an error back. So all the settings though are familiar. If I were to hit send, this job will go over to my Muto VJ1628 that I have set up here. And I hit send, and it will go over to the production manager on that computer. So the only thing that's going to be different now is I want to kind of show you something here as we send a job. Is it's going to process and set at holding. So when you first set up, and this is something that maybe you might be familiar with if you've ever set up a Flexi Designer in the past to send to a production manager, this is going to be something that you'll run into. So on the computer that has the production manager, you actually have two options. When you hit send from your designer, you can either have it hold or you can have it be able to interact with that device at the same time and just send it right away. So I'm going to just pull up a little screenshot that I actually saved ahead of time. We'll just open that up here. So this is what my production manager on my PC looks like. And if you go to the edit menu, I believe, let me make sure that that's correct. Yes, edit menu, and then click on preferences. This is going to pop up. So you got a lot of different options here, but the one that's important is this one right here. Allow remote send now interactive. What this allows you to do is this allows you to send something directly to the cutter or to the printer from your designer or from your connected computer that's connecting to that production manager without having to have it hold. So that's going to be really important. If you want that job to hold or to send, you're going to want to go ahead and choose that option. That'll allow you to send jobs directly to the machine without having any issues at all. So just take note of that. That'll give you a really good, if you want that to happen. Now, depending on your circumstance, you may not want that to happen. You don't, maybe you're far enough away from the printer plotter that you don't want it to do something bad while you're while you're in the other room. So you can also set it up both ways. By default, it's set to hold. The other way, it's set to send. So if I send this again, it should go through and start processing, and then it's probably going to give me an error message because again, I don't have a printer set up at all. In fact, yeah, just sit there and it's not doing anything right now. So, and that's because it gave me an error on the other side. I have it set up to a ghost IP address that doesn't exist. So that's going to allow you to send those jobs directly over. So that's the production manager or the rip and print screen. You're going to have the same experience over here when you go to your cut plot options. So if you hit cut plot, you're also going to see all of your options you're familiar with inside of your cut screen. So you got your graph tech up here set up. You've got all your options, your advanced options here for cutting and doing different things, and then your colors and how you want them to cut, whether you want them to cut single panel, single job, or separate panel, separate jobs, things like that. Again, same experience that you're going to see. So very familiar. All of it now just available on the Mac. Now, I will mention that this is, I believe the compatibility for this is going to be 10 point, I believe it's 10.5.1 is the option here. So currently this one is at 12.3. So it is compatible with the most recent version of the Mac OS. It does go all the way back to 10.5.1. And that will allow you to run even a little bit older Macs. So there's a big, great range of compatibility there for this version. So if you have a Mac or you've always wanted to switch to a Mac, this is kind of a brief overview. There's a lot of things you can do with the Flexi software. I'm sure you're familiar with those, but we wanted to kind of just highlight the fact that it's here, it's available for you guys, and it's ready to roll. So if you've been wanting to switch over to designing on a Mac or doing your primary design on a Mac versus on a PC, this software runs really well on the new M1 chips from Mac or the older Intel. So it'll work on both. So you don't really have to worry about compatibility there. We've tested and made sure that it runs on both. So whether you're running on an older Mac like this one here, the one that I'm running on is a little bit older with an Intel chip, you're good to go. Or if you go out and buy one of those brand new Macs with the M1 or the M2 chips, you should be good to go. So just want to open it up for any questions now at this point. I know this was kind of just a brief presentation with, kind of some generic things here, but we just wanted to highlight that the Mac version is out. And if you know somebody who wants it, let them know. You can get it on a subscription and you can start designing on a Mac. Get out of the PC world if you hate PCs. So, which I wouldn't blame you.
Thank you all for joining us for this Flexi webinar. Our next Flexi webinar will be about what's new in Flexi. We'll have some exciting new things to share with you, and that'll be on July 12th. We hope to see you there. We'll have the link to sign up for that in the follow-up email that you'll receive later today. Make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter so you won't miss out on any webinars or other announcements, and you can sign up for that on our website. Thank you again for attending. We hope you learned something, and we'll see you next time.